football.
And Mark, he's got everything you need to know in the sports world, with maybe a touch of sarcasm.
This is the Beat of Sports with Marc Daniels.
Happy Wednesday, girls, and welcome to the Beat of Sports. Marc Daniels on the road. Chris Vasquez back in the studios. I am in State College, Pennsylvania, where tonight UCF baseball plays Penn State. That's why I'm here for them to play Penn State tonight before Morgantown for weekend series against West Virginia. And Chris, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Mark. How are you, sir?
Good. We're up on the screen, even though I'm on the road.
Yeah, no more figures.
How about that? So, yeah, I mean, I can kind of get creative. I mean, I'm all by myself here in the press box of the baseball stadium. It's where I'm doing the show this morning in the mountains.
You should leave your mark. You should leave your mark there in the press box.
Well, what I will do is I'll go up there, redraw here to see if I can steal some tape, pen, stuff like that. But you can catch us on the screen. Go to our YouTube page, 96 in the Game Orlando. Click on the logo, the live button, and you can see me sitting in the press box, which is, by the way, where I will broadcast the game tonight. Awkward, uncomfortable, odd.
Only if you make it that way.
Well, there's no visiting radio booth here. The stadium is beautiful. I mean, it's a 5,000 plus seat stadium. The mountains right behind. Here, can I turn this to show you the mountains? I think I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Oh man, this is great radio. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, nice.
I'd be distracted by the mountains.
Yeah, it's a nice view. That was supposed to rain all day today, but I guess that forecast has changed, and it's a better chance of us getting tonight. The game's the Magic here tonight against. Not here tonight. Magic for the Hawks on this station tonight. That's why we'll be over at 8:10 a.m. on that side. If you want to catch UCF baseball. But that's why I'm here. And yeah. The broadcast position is right in the middle of the press. So my goal tonight, Chris, is every person in the press to get them at least to acknowledge by name.
Nice.
Bob, come on. Tell us about it. Where are you from? So anyway,
do it.
We'll get to the Magic win last night.
Also, the big news yesterday in the NFL. We're an NFL town now, Chris, at least for 1 year.
We are.
Right. So that's cool. And 11 o'clock this morning, we'll carry the Jags press conference here.
With yesterday's vote, everything official, and we'll carry that at 11 o'clock. Hopefully they're on time today with that. Also, Keith Smith will join us for his weekly basketball visit coming up at about 10:15. BJ Taylor's back. Another week of BJ talking college hoops. We'll get his thoughts on what happened last weekend and the Final Four coming up this weekend. Maybe do a game show with Chris a little bit later on as well. Do I sound okay? Because I'm losing my voice.
You sound beautiful, Mark.
Yeah, I got a head cold. Losing my voice. It's day 2 of a 6-day trip and everything. But it's all right. It's good.
We power through.
We stopped the flight yesterday when Orlando to Philadelphia, and half of the party went on the early flight. Another group went on a different flight that went through Washington. And
man, about half the group that went with me, it didn't matter that it was at 9:45. They were buying cheesesteaks and everything, man.
It's never not a good time for a cheesesteak.
I can't do that. Yeah. Didn't do the cheesesteak.
Are you the kind of person that you can't eat anything in the morning other than breakfast food? Like you couldn't
pretty much.
I can eat pizza. I could give me a burger at 9 o'clock in the morning. I could eat anything any time of day.
And some people have the stomach for that. Sometimes some of those foods are not really designed after you've been sleeping for X hours to get up and put in your body. But if it works for you, it works for you. I bought so this is what I bought yesterday. An airport pricing. I mean, we talk about tariffs in the world. The airport tariff, I mean, that's one of the great scams ever. Okay. So trying to eat healthy, right? I bought a couple of hard-boiled eggs. You can buy eggs, little bag. I didn't think So I grabbed the eggs and I grabbed one of these that I'm holding up right here, a bottle of iced tea.
Gross.
The eggs were $5 for 2 hard-boiled eggs.
Wow.
So then, it's here somewhere. Yesterday, look at this. I'm using the stream well, Chris.
Yeah, you are.
I bought these yesterday.
Okay. Hard cooked eggs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I paid $1.79.
Nice.
I mean, come on. Ridiculous.
It's the airport. You know that. Everything's more pricey at the airport.
God,
you know that. You know
just
that.
Ridiculous. I know. Just by the way,
yes.
Yesterday at Orlando Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Now our flight was at 6:50 in the morning. So went through TSA pre-check at 5:45, 5:50.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the coverage of airports and everything, right? Do you know how long it took to go through TSA pre-check?
Let me know.
4 minutes.
Nice.
So I would just say this, and somebody told me this, that, Orlando's done a better job of staffing TSA pre-check of those that are available. And I say bravo to Orlando Airport. They were great. It's great. Now, it wasn't super, super crowded, but even the non-TSA pre-check line, they put the signs up. It was 15, 20 minutes.
That's
now,
beautiful.
Maybe the biggest part was not as many people traveling, but had no issues at all. Easy to get through. Doesn't mean if you're traveling Friday at 5 o'clock that it won't be, but had no problem yesterday going through. And there are more than enough people working, and everybody was great. So hats off to them for all the negative publicity they've gotten. All right, Magic won last night. The Jaguars coming to Orlando. Other NFL news. Want to get to all that coming up, but first is everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Oh, that's so great.
I don't know what it is. I can't get Tuck to smile. So hopefully I do a better job today with you, Mark. Are you ready? He's so difficult.
Tough crowd, huh? Tough crowd with Tuck. Okay.
But it's all good.
All right.
Here we go. What kind of car does Mickey Mouse's wife drive?
Oh, I know this. I don't know, Chris. What type of car does Minnie Mouse drive?
Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse's wife drive. Oh, Mark.
I don't know, Chris. What kind of car does Mickey Mouse's wife drive?
A minivan. So funny.
He can't even control himself, even after I ruined it. Wow. Just wow. The Beat of Sports on this Wednesday. Chris is back in studios in Orlando. I am in State College, Pennsylvania. UCF baseball now ranked will play Penn State tonight before a weekend series over at Morgantown against West Virginia. Chris, the last time I was in this town was 12 and a half years ago. And right behind me is the football stadium. And that is where Blake Bortles led his team down the field, that late fourth quarter drive, corner touchdown pass to J.J. Wharton. And UCF won here at Penn State, would go on to win at Louisville. The only loss that year was to Steve Spurrier's South Carolina football team. And UCF won the American championship. No conference title game, but won the American championship and went to the Fiesta Bowl. It's the game against Baylor, in which UCF won. And came here on a Saturday night and won at Penn State.
That's exciting.
Remember that well. Yeah.
I would love to go to a whiteout game at Penn State.
It wasn't a whiteout game that night, but we had played here during the day and that game at night. It's a great atmosphere. This is a college town. And called Happy Valley, which I looked up. And the reason why it's called Happy Valley, there's a couple different stories, but during the Depression, this area stayed, for the most part, financially stable. Employment was strong. It didn't suffer some of the same struggles, and hence people started calling it Happy Valley. That's where that came from.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good story.
And then you got the mountains, and I think there's 3 or 4 townships that kind of make up the area here, State College being one of them, and I believe 90% of the economy of this area is related to the university. So this is a ultimate college town. But, yeah, this is the last time I was here was for that game against Penn State, which UCF fans will remember. They were supposed to return the game, but they were never going to come to Orlando. And they were willing to buy out the contract because they were going to go play UCLA at the Rose Bowl. And a couple people at UCF had the idea of, well, wait a minute, hang on. What can we do? And that's what led to the game in Ireland against Penn State, that they convinced the people there who were looking to do a few more college football games. They pitched them the idea. They loved it. They came up with the money. UCF then went back to Penn State and said, look, you're getting X to go to UCLA. You could get X plus. Would you be interested in a game in Ireland? And they jumped at it. And that's how that game came about. UCF should have won that game, too, if they make a 4th down stop. And also, I've never seen a worse half of quarterback football than Pete DeNovo's first half in the history of the game. And if Justin Holman, who played that well in the second half, if he plays that well in the first half, UCF wins by 4 touchdowns. But that was Bill O'Brien's first game. Yeah, all that stuff. So there you go. That's a little bit of the history here. 10 o'clock hour, WYJ Orlando, WJR, HD2 Cocoa Beach. It's the Beat of Sports. So last night the Magic won 115-111. And I said this to Kelly on the bridge. Right now, any win for Orlando is a good win because you're fighting for playoff position. You're trying to get out of the play-in. They play Atlanta tonight, who sits in front of the Magic. A huge game there. You're just a half game up on Miami and Charlotte, who sit in 9th and 10th place. So every win is critical for the Magic. It's comical, and I'm as guilty as anybody with this. It's comical what we do with a game, Chris, in any sport that comes down to a couple of plays, right? Like in football, right? If the Cowboys get a 66-yard field goal, that cyborg thing that kicks for your team, right? And let's say they beat the Eagles 38-37.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We spend the majority of time talking about, man, what a way to pull it out, what a drive, and you think about all the good things, right?
Right.
If he misses the field goal left, the defense stinks. We got to change coordinators, all the opportunities lost. We do it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Magic won last night, and that's a good thing. Their third quarter was horrendous last night. They won 115, 111, made more plays in the fourth quarter last night, made fewer turnovers in the fourth quarter last night. And the difference is, man, what a gutty win. You know, they lost by 52. Excuse me. Big bounce back victory. It is in the grand scheme of things, but their third quarter was horrendous. They turned the ball over 9 times, were outscored 38-24. And I mean, and I'm watching this on my phone, just mind-boggling turnovers. Just what are you doing? And after having a 70-point first half with some emotion, thinking, hey, all right, this is a get-right game. You win by 10, 15 points. You feel good. And you say, okay, now feed off of that. No, they give the game away in the third quarter, then have to come back and survive in the fourth. And if you go back and look at the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, it's like a middle school basketball team. Just horrendous turnovers, just bad passes and just mistakes and guys not getting back on D. And that's on A, it's on player effort when you turn the ball over. B, it's on coaching from halftime adjustments. And everybody's to blame for that. Everybody's to blame. It was a terrible third quarter. Now, they rallied and made some plays in the fourth quarter, got the win, and right now that's all that matters when you're trying to win any game you can. So you build off of that. But don't sell the what a great bounce back after the 52-point loss. Are you kidding? They won the game. That's the most important thing. They won. But you can't keep doing that. You can't have quarters like that. Like the Heat are one of the worst third quarter teams of the NBA, and their stretches with the Magic are like not that far behind them. If you look up third quarter numbers, the Magic are actually even in points scored, points allowed. Like it's 0.01 difference. But man, there's other games that you're just like, what changed from halftime? You go out and just have a horrible third quarter. But they won. Now get a massive game with Atlanta tonight. And this is like one of these, okay, played Toronto. What happened? Well, now you get Atlanta. Atlanta sits in 5th place. They're half game up on the Raptors, who are in 6th, then Philadelphia, then the Magic. The Magic are 2.5 games back of the Hawks. You lose tonight, you're not catching Atlanta. You win tonight, well, you still got a shot. So let's see how the team plays tonight in their game against the Atlanta Hawks and see what is left in the tank. Chris, thoughts on yesterday's formal vote of the Jags and coming to Orlando by the NFL owners?
That was anticipated, right? Beautiful.
It was anticipated. I did mention this in the bridge, and we had a clip from Steve Hogan of Florida Citrus Sports. And I shared the story. The NFL told Orlando and Steve and his people a couple months ago, hey, this is going to happen. We're satisfied with all the answers to the questions we had. ... Hard stop, next paragraph. But it still has to be voted on by the owners. And even though whenever something gets to a vote by the owners, you pretty much know it's going to pass. The NFL doesn't like votes to become public of something that doesn't pass. That's why, when you hear about rule changes, it goes to the competition committee. That is a hard sell to everybody before it gets to vote. And even though it was pretty much approved by the NFL, it still can go sideways. It takes one 80-something-year-old to go, what are we doing again? Even though somebody to his right says, remember we talked about this last night, one of the 5 things you got to vote on. Or wait a minute, tell me again. It takes one person to say something, and then if you get 8 other owners to go, yeah, why are we doing that? Then it's dead. But it apparently hit no roadblock yesterday, and all 32 owners voted for it, which means everybody in the league and the other people that work with owners to basically do all of the true legwork of these topics they vote on made it a no-brainer. And look, the odds of Orlando ever getting an NFL team is probably less than 0.1%, at least for the foreseeable future. They're not going to put a 4 team in the state of Florida, particularly how close we're talking to Jacksonville and Tampa. But there's no downside to this. Now, we got to have no hiccups in the renovations. This has to go well. We can't have any big storms and so forth because there's a timeline for this. But there's no downside to it. A schedule that'll have the Dolphins and the Bucks coming here for an entire NFL season. When Jaguars play, a spotlight on Orlando, the renovations to the stadium, everything else of the building, there's no downside to that. We remain the largest media market without an NFL team. 15th today. In the next 5 to 7 years, because of population growth, Orlando's going to be a top 12 media market. And the NFL likes this town. Like I said, whether you didn't care about the Pro Bowl games, they still chose to come here. NFL owners come here once a year as well. And there's no downside having a good relationship with the National Football League. And the ability of hosting an NFL team for an entire year can do wonders, maybe, about college football playoff expansion and things like that. So, I think it's a great get for Orlando. Great job by Steve and Florida Citrus Sports, Jason Siegel, the Great Orlando Sports Commission, Buddy Dyer and the city support, Alan Johnson, the county support, because things could have gone either way. There were a variety of plans. Go play in Europe, go play in London, play half the home games there, play half, around. I think the NFL wanted stability, and they wanted a place for the Jaguars to call home, and there's no downside to the fact it's going to be, in Orlando. All right, we come back. Keith Smith will join us his weekly basketball visit. That Jags press conference at 11 o'clock will carry live. We'll talk some hoops again with Keith coming up.
Time to talk basketball with Keith Smith. The latest on the Magic and around the NBA. Follow Keith on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA.
All right, talk hoops with Keith Smith on this Wednesday. Keith and Chris are back in Orlando. I am in State College, Pennsylvania. UCF baseball tonight against Penn State, but we still do our thing on Wednesdays with Keith. Keith, welcome. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right. Wow. What a interesting couple of days for the Magic. Let's start there. A much-needed win last night. Look, I said this, and please share your thoughts. Any win right now is important for Orlando. But you can't go, man, what a great bounce-back victory. It was a horrendous third quarter. I mean, middle school-like turnovers. They brought the Suns back into the game, and the Magic made enough extra plays in the fourth quarter than Phoenix did to win, so you take that win. But let's not act like it was a 17-point bounce-back win. So I'll throw the bounce pass back to you. Your thoughts on the Toronto loss and then last night's basketball game.
Yeah, as far as last night goes, I'm basically with you. It was you're going to take anyone you can get right now. They're in a battle to, they're still only a couple games out of fifth place. So you still are, looking, up and saying, all right, hey, if we can close strong here over the last couple weeks of the season, maybe we can get out of the play-in tournament, and that kind of opens up a whole new world of possibilities. But last night is not. No one should be waking up today and being like, well, everything's fixed. We're good again. This team still has a lot of problems, and they've got a lot of stuff to figure out. Their ball handling, their ball security, their playmaking has been really awful. And if you look at the total of the last two games, that Toronto game was such an incredible disaster that the Magic would need to beat a quality team by 30 points before I think anybody could start really feeling good again about where things are at. It is just, they're going through right now, and I don't see a lot of ways that this gets fixed. And with how bad their offense can be sometimes, if they're in the play-in tournament, they really, could be in trouble here, because if they have one of those poor offensive nights, that might be it. It might be over before, we even really get started.
Keith, I still don't know how you can have a 31-0 run. Just by accident, you got to get to the free throw line, right? I mean, at some point, you think someone's going to get a chance to get free throws.
Yeah, I mean, what that reminded me of is when you watch, at the youth level, when one team is so overpoweringly dominant and they're still full court pressing, and the other team can't do anything against it. That's what it reminded me of, and that is, really, really bad. Like you said, when you have a guy like Paolo Banchero, you would think at some point you just throw it to him and he bulldozes his way to the rim and gets fouled. But that was as egregious of an example of a team really showing up and being like, we do not care. And I know some people are like, hey, they were up 20-14. Okay, great. Maybe the Raptors started slow and didn't really get going, but that thing was, just absolutely gross basketball. And I'll be honest, that's the kind of loss where had they, started making a shake-up on the coaching staff or something else before the next game, I would not have been surprised. But I think at this point, everybody who's here is going to be here all the way through whenever the season ends at this point.
Keith, ownerships are structured differently around the NBA. Just your guess and what you may know, do you believe that the Magic ownership it has already thought about what we want to do? Because I think we talked about this last week. It isn't just about what you do with Jamal Mosley. You got to decide about Jeff Weltman. Is the next person, if you're going to make a change for Jeff Weltman's job, is that new person told, hey, you can't trade these guys, or no, I need to have full control if I'm going to come in and evaluate, and if I got to make changes to bust this up, make it up. What is your guess to what you think Magic ownership is thinking, if they are thinking that?
Yeah, I think when you get drilled by 52 points, and like you said, it has a 31-0 run in the middle of it, you have to sit down and have the conversation of, all right, what is it we're going to do? And my guess is there's been some level of conversation had with Jeff Weltman in the front office about, hey, we're probably making a coaching change at the minimum here. And then at some point, though, you have to start to look. Jeff Weltman's not in year two of this job. He's been there for a while, and he's clearly built a team that is much better than what was the team he was handed But I think a lot of Magic fans are saying, hey, after the last couple of years, it was great to get into the playoffs and then get back the next year. And we've taken our lumps. We thought with the Desmond Bain acquisition and everything that was given up to get him, that we were going to be up in the Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Cavs territory, competing for one of the top seeds and moving forward in the playoffs. And it just hasn't come together. And what ownership has to do is look at it and say, all right, do we have the right guys? And if you're going to do that, you can't hire the next guy and say, all right, but here are handcuffs on you. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time getting the right person to take the job in the first place if they're being given that kind of handcuff. And then beyond that, it has to be a real clear outline for whoever those next candidates are. Is what is the goal here? Is the goal to win an NBA title, or is the goal to simply be a pretty good team and make the playoffs year in and year out? And I know fans don't always want to hear it, but sometimes ownerships are content with, hey, just be a playoff team, every year, and we'll get the extra revenue that way, and that's how we'll do it. And if we stumble into being better, then that's so much the better. But we're not going to commit to going deep into the tax and everything else. There's a lot to dig out from underneath with this Magic team.
One more on this, and we're just speculating. We're going to have many weeks and months to do this based on this year that we've seen and the injuries to Franz and the injury to Anthony Black, where a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. is. And I don't know, your thoughts about Paolo. What is the market as to value of some of these guys and pulling a trigger? And if the biggest prize there, is Giannis, do you still want to be part of that because his number in age is going to be up there? Again, those are all things way ahead. But what's your at least view today as the calendar gets to April about the value and market of some of these guys?
Sure. Yeah, I think, guys like Paolo and Franz, it's still a really strong market for those guys because we've seen what they've been when they've been healthy. Paolo was so good in the playoffs last year that's going to be what teams are going to focus on. NBA teams, if nothing else, are always arrogant enough to believe we'll get it right with this player. We'll get this player healthy. That's a age-old story in the NBA. So I think what you're going to see is if the Magic decide they do need to move on from a guy like Paolo or a guy like Franz Wagner, they're going to get strong offers. Anthony Black was in the midst of a breakout season, and I think teams will value him to a degree. You have to believe, all right, is this guy going to be a for sure starter? Is he going to shoot? Where we've seen some shooting improvement this year. If so, all right, then we can feel good about trading for him, locking in on the next contract, and going forward with him. And those are the questions that the Magic need to start to have, because I think it's now becoming clear we've got a handful of guys on this roster that there are injury issues that aren't going to go away. They're going to have to be managed through those things. And if that's going to be how it plays out, you're going to maybe be in a little bit of trouble here with, all right, we can't have so much payroll tied up in guys who may only play 50 games a year. Otherwise, we're going to start to look an awful lot like the Philadelphia 76ers, who are really good at times when they're all healthy, but that's 25, 30 games a year. And the rest of the time, they're just a perfectly average team.
By the way, Keith had posted some numbers about offensive and defensive ratings of teams in the top 10 and bottom 10. If you ever wanted to see tanking on an example, and I know you've seen some of the pieces NBA guys have written, boy, these teams are doing it at a high level, man. They are just laying down. No one's beaten anybody that's a good team. This is Tank City. So you can share thoughts on that. And the follow-up is, I don't know, all that stuff about changing the lottery, it's so confusing, Keith. I don't understand any of the, I do, but I don't want to understand it. There has to be an easier way.
Yeah, so the tanking, I have held that, it's really bad this year. But you have a couple situations where a couple teams stumbled into it where they think the Indiana Pacers had no intention of tanking. Then Halliburton's out. And then on top of that, they had about 4 or 5 other guys go down with injuries. And it was like, all right, this season's shot. Let's go. The Bulls, the Bucks, the Grizzlies, no intention of tanking. That's where it was. The Kings, their fans will, they wave the hand, daily and say, we're not tanking. We just stink. Like we're just this bad of a team, and it's kind of hard to argue with them on that. So this is the all-time draft class. There are 3 guys in the mix for the number 1 pick. There's another 3 or 4 guys behind them that are in the mix in a normal draft, might be anywhere in the top 2 or 3. I mean, this is a loaded class. So I get why teams are going after it, very aggressively to try to make sure they're there. And then you add on top of that, like the Jazz and the Wizards have some protected picks they wanted to make sure that they held on to. So it's all added up to some really, egregious stuff and bad basketball. That said, with the fixes, I'm with you. Some of them are very confusing, and this is what I do. And I think if you want casual fans to be able to follow this stuff, you don't want them having to pull out calculators and spreadsheets and everything else to figure it all out. But I do think it is important, and more has come out that these were just some initial proposals. It wasn't you must pick one of these 3 options. They're going to kind of Frankenstein some of these together. What was interesting was after Adam Silver, all of his comments, both to the media and to the NBA front offices of, hey, the only incentive should be to win games. None of those prioritized winning. They were all just, you don't need to be horrifically bad, with your losing to, do some of these. So I think, let's see where they ultimately land. There's certainly going to be changes made. I just hope they're easy enough to follow, and I hope they're things that actually, fix some of the issues they think there are without creating a whole bunch of other unintended consequences.
We're looking at scenarios for teams to debate is the Knicks better if they fall behind Cleveland because of a potential first-round matchup? Are the Spurs better if the standings show that they don't play Denver? Is there any one of those scenarios that you think actually makes sense that we're looking at down the stretch here?
Yeah, I like to call this seeding shenanigans, where teams start to try to kind of, engineer a matchup. I think, especially in the Western Conference, it's still too tight for teams to start trying to kind of play those games. I think you have to be really careful because we've seen in the past where teams have tried to do that and it's backfired on them, where they dropped a spot, but then somebody else moved into a position. I do think in the East, I think with how good Boston has been, really all season, but especially after getting Jason Tatum back, that there is a thought of, hey, we'd rather play Detroit in the first round because they haven't been there. They haven't done that. And who knows what Cade Cunningham is going to be. It sounds like we're not going to see him again in the regular season. And asking a guy after, what will effectively be a month off to jump right into playoff games, that's tough. So I think teams are kind of trying to line up. I think that's why, the Knicks, they're not trying to lose these games. They're certainly out there trying to win. But I don't know that they're overly worried if Cleveland catches them from behind, because I think they're thinking, all right, well, we'll beat whoever we play in the first round, whether it's the Hawks or Raptors, Sixers, Magic, who knows? That's all still up in the air. And then, all right, we'll take our chances. We beat Detroit last year. Why not get it done again? And then if we have to play Boston, all right, so be it. It'll be the East Finals, and we took care of them last playoffs as well. The West, though, I think it is just way too jumbled up to really have any idea between the 3 through 6 spots.
Please support his work on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. The links to all the videos and writing that Keith has, and it's a must follow as we head down the stretch here. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it as always.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
That's Keith Smith. The Magic play the Hawks tonight, and I mean, you would hope that there's a lesson learned from the Toronto game about the importance of a game tonight. I mean, last night was important, and they won. Even though critical the third quarter, they won. And as Keith and I were talking, they're still 2.5 games within 5th place. So that's how big tonight's game is. You lose tonight, you're 3.5 back of the Hawks. You're not catching them. You win tonight, then things get really interesting. So let's see what happens as you handle it back-to-back against Atlanta. And all that other stuff that we've talked about, and Keith and I were just talking about regarding changes, you would hope a good ownership is already anticipating, barring a huge run in the playoffs, what are our scenarios? What's option A? What's option B? What's option C? Are we keeping the president? Are we changing there? If we're changing that, does that guy get to pick the coach? And if he wants to bust up the team, those are things you just have to be thinking about now. You can't go, hey, I don't want to be bothered by that. I'll wait till the season ends. That's not how this works, man. You've got to have an idea, and that's options. Okay. Speaking of options, when it comes to your appliances, there's no other place you go than our friends at Southeast Steel Appliance Warehouse. Stu Kimball is my good friend, and he joins us. Stu, good to catch up. How you been, my friend?
I've been very well. How are you?
When are we going to get together and do more commercials again? Still had a blast last time.
I know it was fun. Meanwhile, I was listening to you this morning, and you're up at Penn State, right?
I'm here at right now, Stu. I'm seated at Medler Field in Lebrano Park tonight. UCF plays Penn State in baseball. The mountains are right behind center field, and I'm right behind home plate. I'll call a game tonight at 5:30. It's a bit overcast, but there's no humidity. My allergies are better, though I'm losing my voice, but it's a beautiful sight here in Happy Valley.
Yeah, well, my grandson's a senior there, so we're going to be going up in May for graduation.
That's awesome. Well, one of the great institutions in the country, and this is indeed one of the great college towns. Hey, let's talk about everything at Southeast Little Appliance Warehouse. We know that LG Appliance, they're a partner of March Madness. The tournament's winding down. What do folks need to know about all the LG products that you guys offer?
Well, they're great products, especially their laundry is rated #1 and always excellent product. And right now we have a promotion going on where you can get up to $800 back, depending on how much you buy. Buy more, save more. So it's a good time for buying LG products at Southeast Steel.
Let me follow up with that from a kitchen standpoint. We talked about this. People want to upgrade their kitchen. My producer, Chris Vasquez, just did that. You've got some great things to offer. If someone's thinking about that, tell them how they could do that as well.
Well, you can come on in, work with one of our senior salespeople who are very, very knowledgeable. They can help you and recommend products to you and suggest maybe some new products that you don't have, we're not aware of. And really do a wonderful job in redesigning your kitchen.
By the way, Stu, Chris has one of those fancy sinks, that's got all these weird knobs and all the latest technology stuff. He's got one of those fancy sinks. I don't have a sink like that, but he has a sink like that. You've seen all this incredible stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't have a sink like that either.
Hey, why does customer service, we talk about that and we tell people they can go to big box stores, but why does that still matter to you? You've got guys that have been with you for years and years and years, and clearly it works, but why is that important to you, Stu?
Well, because that's what differentiates us from the big box stores is our knowledgeable salespeople and our superior delivery and installation service. And the pricing, we're always competitively priced. And we keep a multi-million-dollar inventory on hand at all times. We can do same-day deliveries. We can install. So we do anything from the basic all the way up to the luxury, getting into the Sub-Zeros and Thermadors and products like that. So we cover all the bases, as they say.
63 West Amelia Street, downtown Orlando, family-owned and operated still today. Stu Kimball, the owner. And always good to catch up. Check out the great deals on LG appliances and more. Shop online at southeaststeel.net because it's Southeast Steel. You get the best deal. Thank you, Stu. We'll catch up again soon. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
More of the Beat of Sports coming up next.
Hey there, it's Chad and Leslie from Magic 1077. And if you want real sports updates, keep it here on the Beat of Sports.
Chad, I give real sports updates.
No, you don't, Leslie. Nobody likes your sports updates. You don't even know your sports updates.
Wednesday edition of our program. The stream is up, by the way, even though I'm on the road. You can watch me do the show while in the press box here at Penn State. Go to our YouTube page, 96 in the Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button or access it via Twitter at 96.9 Game On. How do I look? Do I look
Beautiful.
all right? Really?
Look beautiful.
I don't feel great. Battling a bad head cold, losing my voice. But you know what? You get up, man. You get up and you go. You get up and you go. So, by the way, $1 dog night here at the ballpark.
Nice. Can't beat a $1 hot dog.
No. And Little Sluggers Day. I think that means like youth baseball teams or things like that. So, yeah, we got baseball tonight, UCF. That'll be on 8:10 a.m. The Magic and the Hawks are on here, 96.9 FM and 740 a.m. So, I want to ask a few things here, Chris.
Okay.
One of the things that, and in fact, you were just showing me something, and I cannot stand April Fool's jokes. I cannot stand it. I just, particularly today in an AI world and misinformation, I can't stand that. So like you were showing me something, and somebody has told me that they're pretty sure that story is false. So I'm not even going to mention it, but I can't stand that. But did you see at least the highlights of Dan Hurley, the UConn basketball coach? After the big shot, he leans into Roger Ayers, the official, and doesn't headbutt him. He kind of leans his head against Ayers' forehead.
Yeah, he's face to face with him.
Okay. So the immediate reaction to that is light a flame, pour the gasoline on it, and throw the match onto the gas and let it just blow. And Hurley has built a reputation of not just being an excellent basketball coach in position to win another national championship, but his sideline antics, his emotions, and I told you, I it's not a 180, it's probably about a 150 that I've done on Hurley, because even before he got to UConn at Rhode Island, I thought this guy's insane. He's just, it's crazy. The constant berating of officials, the profanity, and then when I saw him at UConn, but he's grown on me because he won. And I'm not saying it's okay what he does, but when you win, you're kind of backing it up. And I think he's an excellent basketball coach. But that story took off. Like, how in the world is that not a technical? How in the world can you go headbutt an official? How in the world can you allow such behavior on a sideline? And then even Terry McCauley, the NFL guy for NBC, he responded on Twitter to people, that's absolutely unacceptable. And he went back and forth with other media people about why I was wrong and all sorts of stuff. And in a hot take world that we live in, you got to have, instant results, instant opinion. Go. It's easy to go down the path of that's just unacceptable. I don't care what the situation was. He bumped an official. He should have been ejected. It should have been free throws. And if they lost the game, it would have been on him. And if you just want to live in that world, okay. Context matters. Context matters. Now, if he's arguing a call, like let's say it's reversed and Duke hits a shot like that, and he's screaming that he thinks there was a push off and he's on the court and he's losing his mind, I'm with you. But can you just for a moment understand the moment? This one in a blank, fill in the blank, 1 in a million, 1 in 500,000 shot goes in, this comeback. And Hurley knows Roger Ayers for years. Both have this level of respect. Not that Ayers has publicly commented about this, but Hurley, long before Sunday, has even openly talked about guys like Roger Ayers and officials that he respects, the way they call the game and understanding the physicality and so forth. They've known each other for years. The Hurley family's known Roger Ayers for years. Can we at least acknowledge that context matters and you've got a little bit of a past, that it's not some coach that decided, let me show you up here and my team won anyway despite the horrendous game that you called. It was Hurley with an emotional moment as Ayers comes by, and you may not believe Hurley's story as he said, I thought he was going to chest bump me, which he's joking. Okay, the ref's not coming over to chest bump and go, hey, what a great shot, what a great win. It's the emotional moment that Hurley reacted in a way that then people that either A, had an agenda, or B, wanted a narrative to fit, and then it blows up. If you can't watch that and go, they probably know each other and he's all emotional, then I guess you live in that hot take moment that every single thing has to be magnified. And I believed it because I've seen it now, how people respond to stuff like that.
Well, when you see a coach literally face to face, like his forehead is touching the ref's forehead.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to touch the ref in any sort of context.
I'm not arguing any of that by the book, Chris. I'm not. I'm just saying, though, can you at least? It's the same thing as saying, like the Penn, the Duke radio call. That should be a technical foul. Do you think the guy Duke really believes that a technical foul was going to be called on UConn?
Oh, he knew it wasn't.
And if you go back and look at the video, there's 9 people that stepped on the court. 9. So, I mean, we take the rule book out, then it should be a technical. I mean, put some context and understand the emotion, and not everything has to be broken down to, well, that's what the rule is.
But how many times do we see an athlete, maybe the kid who hit the shot, he gets so overly excited because he just hit the big shot, he's sending his team to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And, in his moment of celebration, he shoulder bumps the ref. Accident, but he makes contact with an official. That's going to be a technical foul.
It what?
That would have been a technical foul.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think guys. Well, I'm just telling you. If you're getting assigned to regional finals and Final Fours, you understand the emotion. I mean, I brought this up before. Kip Kissinger is one of the best college basketball officials, and he does mostly Big 12 games. Okay, and he did a game at UCF, and I don't remember which game it was. It may have been the Texas Tech game that UCF won or something like that, where there was a scuffle between a UCF player and a Texas Tech player right on the far end from me, which is on the bench. And again, it may not have been Texas Tech. And they come back, look at the monitor. And he looks, he goes, get out of here. This is just physical play. Come on. I mean, we're not calling technicals here. Your experienced officials know about emotion. And there's a difference of Hurley berating, which, by the way, I'm not endorsing what he does sometimes. But there's a difference of berating somebody and going to make contact with intent. If he's not happy because a charge wasn't called, and he walks on the court and he headbutts the official, I'm with you. I'm on that side, but not in that moment.
Look,
come on. He just leaned into the guy. He knows the guy. He didn't do it on purpose.
There's an acceptable level of emotion.
Yeah,
because we expect athletes to control their emotions when celebrating, right?
Yeah, but
you can't, you're putting your head on an official.
Chris, come on. You don't believe a technical should have been called there, do you? Come on.
I'm not saying there should have been, but if it was.
No. I'm now asking you that. If you want to make a big deal about it, then I'm asking you.
I'm not making
should
a big
the right
deal,
thing have been.
If a technical would have been called, I would not have been mad at it.
Okay. Do you think if it's an official that Hurley knows has it in for him, which I don't doubt there are, do you think he does the same thing?
Probably not, no.
Okay, that's all. It's context, man. It's just context. It matters. And it's not an endorsement of all of his sideline antics. It's just understanding that there's some relationships that exist there, and then people just kind of lose their mind. And they're seeking a story that doesn't exist that's out there. By the way, I want to get to the NFL real quick.
Towing the line.
I want to get to the NFL real quick. They tweak some of the kickoff rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can do an onside kick. You just have to announce whenever you want, things like that.
That's so dumb. Can we just stop with that?
About what? Announcing it?
Having to announce it. That's
I
so
like
dumb.
the element of surprise too. No, I'm totally with you on that. You know, it was not voted on, and they're not ready for it. But man, it is still a whisper at those meetings, and it's the 18-game schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is inevitable, and everybody like talks about it, but it's not talked about. But it's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner than later. I think the NFL, and I'm guessing here, and this is not like last couple of days, but the last couple of months, and just talking to a few of the network people that I still know, all they're waiting on is what's the new media deal going to be? And Chris is going to hate this because they're sucking every dollar they can.
Of course.
Like the news of no more doubleheaders on Monday Night Football.
I love that. I love that.
I know you didn't like that.
I hate
but you didn't like the
Mondays.
games that were going on the same time. Like if it was 7 and 10:30, you didn't care. But it was like, what was it, like 7 and 8?
No, I just didn't like the doubleheaders on Monday in general. It's dumb.
So they got rid of those, and now apparently will sell as an independent.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Because that Thanksgiving Eve game is going to happen on a Wednesday.
Of course.
The league also is pushing now that Friday is an acceptable day
streaming service
if you played Monday, because we do Sunday, Thursday. So now Friday's so they are moving towards this, and you know what? Because of the international games they're going to add, so it's going to be 18 games. It'll be a 20-week schedule, 2 buys, 2 preseason games, and the Super Bowl getting pushed back to that President's Day weekend, all trying to line up with reopening of the media deals so that they can maximize the money, and Chris will be more upset than ever.
Mark, do you know how we have Maction football games, like MAC football on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Yeah, which I'm not a fan of, even though people, lie, oh, I love action and everything. Yeah, it's great when the team's got 400 people at a game.
Moving forward, I would not be surprised if the NFL late in the season, you have, say, the Browns and the Titans scheduled for a week 13 game, and they put that on a Tuesday. Because the NFL...
Hopefully in the afternoon. Yeah,
that's what we're moving towards, is it not? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think well, I don't think it's as crazy. I don't think you'll see a random Tuesday, but I think the NFL is going to be more aggressive in holiday scheduling. And the reason why is they have the numbers to back it up. That the audience is craving for it. I mean, Jerry Jones, and I didn't pull the clip, but Jerry Jones was asked about it, if the duck's thirsty, give it water. And what he's saying is that NFL fans are thirsty and want to give him more. So that's,
Again, I seriously think overexposure is going to become a thing.
Maybe, but right now there's no sign of that. All right, we're going to break because at 11 o'clock, the Jaguars are set to start their press conference about coming to Orlando in 2027. I want to carry that for a little bit. BJ Taylor's going to talk some basketball with us about 11:15 with the Final Four coming up. But let's hope they're on time. We'll carry that Jags press conference coming up on the Beat of Sports.
Let's really do the news.
Yes. Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WYJM Orlando, WJR, HC2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando sports leader, Marc Daniels, Speed of Sports. I'm in State College, Pennsylvania, UCF and Penn State baseball tonight. Chris back in studios. We are awaiting the start of the Jacksonville Jaguars press conference in Orlando. With the news yesterday, the NFL owners voting 32-0 to bring the Jaguars, actually 31-0. Shad Khan's vote doesn't really count, but 31-0 to bring the team to Orlando in 2027 as the Jaguars will complete the renovation for their stadium to return in 2028. That vote formalized yesterday, and when that press conference gets going, hopefully in a couple of minutes, we'll carry a portion of that as the Jaguars have brought their owner and others down to Orlando with Orlando leaders, and hopefully they get that press conference going in just a little bit. Magic won last night, a game they had to have. They beat the Phoenix Suns 115-111. Magic put up 70 first-half points and then, got outscored by 14 in the third quarter, committed 9 turnovers. Suns came back, tied the game. Magic made a couple of more plays late, important as they get the win. Back-to-back means Atlanta tonight, 2.5 games back of the Hawks, who sit in 5th place in the East. It is a massive swing game, as big as Toronto was the other day. This is even bigger because if you lose, you're 3.5 back of the Hawks. You're not catching them. If you win, well, now 5th place is not out of the realm of possibility. So big game tonight. We got that coverage for you here on 96.9 FM, AM 740. UCF baseball's on 8:10 a.m. tonight for the game against Penn State. Tiger Woods announcing yesterday stepping away from golf. He'll seek treatment for the issues that are quite obvious for him, and says that's the most important thing in his life. Massive crowd last night for the friendly between Brazil and Croatia. Shows of the passion of Brazilian fans and Croatian fans, but it was mostly Brazilian fans at a near-filled stadium. The biggest soccer news yesterday was not Brazil's win against Croatia. It was the fact that for a 3rd consecutive World Cup, Italy will not be playing in the World Cup. They got beat, and Bosnia-Herzegovina beat them yesterday, and Italy is now out and will not be playing in a 3rd consecutive World Cup. Go figure that and how that is even possible. But that is indeed what has happened. That's a tough loss for a World Cup in America. It's a great brand, but talk about embarrassing. My goodness. Meanwhile, the U.S. men's national team lost to Portugal in a friendly for them yesterday. Chris, did you see the Hard Knocks team?
Seattle Seahawks this
Seattle
year.
Seahawks.
And then next year, the New England Patriots.
Yeah. First time since the inaugural season of Hard Knocks in 2001 that the defending Super Bowl champs are the featured team. Does that pique your interest in Hard Knocks again?
Not at all, no.
Okay.
Not at all. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, I think there's been so many of these behind-the-scenes shows.
And it's cool to see the behind-the-scenes, but you can only get so much because they're not going to put something that we shouldn't know on camera. Yeah. So, I mean, what are we really getting?
Doc Rivers, Amari Stoudemire, Candace Parker, Elena Delanon are headed to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Full class will be announced on Sunday. The Mariners have signed minor league shortstop Colt Emerson to a contract. Let me emphasize minor league shortstop Colt Emerson to a contract extension. He's not played in the major leagues. He's got an 8-year, $95 million contract. It is the largest contract ever given to a player before making their MLB debut. Wow.
And probably what? If he's good, probably about halfway through it, he's going to want a new deal. Or if he's bad halfway through it, the manager will be like, yeah, we don't want to do this.
Yeah. Baseball contract's a little bit different, though. It's not like the NFL, but in the Lakers, went over the Cavs. LeBron James passed Kareem for the most wins in NBA history.
Can we really count?
No,
that makes no sense.
I didn't know what the number was, and I'm not saying it's not impressive, but it didn't do much for me. But
Luka, I mean, do bench guys get wins credited with wins too?
Sure, but bench guys don't play as long as LeBron James. So Listen, if I was a bench guy and I was able to survive for a decade and I played on a team that won like 8 championships, you better believe I brag about my record. So it'd be like, hey, you averaged 2.3 points your entire career, but guess who had a 750 win percentage?
What are we doing?
Yeah. Luka becomes the third youngest player to reach 15,000 career points behind LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
Did you see this stat also about Luka Doncic, that he scored more points in the month of March than Anthony Davis has scored his entire tenure in Dallas?
Oh, I thought you were going to say more points than the Wizards have scored in the month.
No, Anthony Davis.
Well, I mean, come on. Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, but Anthony Davis doesn't care what you and I think. He just cares about that bank account. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, he's got like 8 zeros there.
Stephen Ross finalized his 1% stake in all of his properties in a sale to Bin Lin, a Chinese businessman. The valuation comes in at $12.5 billion. And Mark Davis sold a 7% stake of the makeup of his company for the Raiders, which has a valuation of $11.1 billion. It's a lot, man.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. 7th edition of the 54-hole stroke play event for the Augusta National Women's Amateur begins today, when now it's become an annual event the week before the Masters. That takes place starting today. And by the way, you saw what coach missed, the annual coaches spring meeting photo?
Of course I did. He was getting a haircut for the photo. That would be Cleveland Browns head coach. New head coach, by the way, Todd Monken. That's only in Cleveland.
You think someone played a game on him and said, "Yeah, the picture's at 11." He goes, "I'll get a haircut, then I'll be there." When the picture was at 9, right? I can see Sean McVay going, "He fell for it. He fell for it."
But I don't think Sean McVay was there either.
No, he wasn't. And I guess Glazier pays for the booze.
I have no.
Did you know that?
No.
Like the last 18 years is like a drinking party. Can you imagine what guys like Reed are pounding back at that thing?
Oh man, I would love to be there.
Like Andy Reid's got to have beer foam on that lip, Chris, for like 3 hours, right? Right? And I mean this in a loving way. Like Andy Reid is just like, he's got foam in his beer, and like he doesn't wipe it off because he's not done yet.
That's fantastic.
Right?
What kind of beers do you think these guys drink? Do you think they're drinking domestics and imports, or are they going craft?
Chris, I love you. I love Bobby and Bowegans. I don't think Andy Reid is asking the waitress, what's the IPA list you guys are carrying today? I think Reid looks and goes, is it got foam? And how fast can you pour one? And that's what he's having.
Do you think some of these guys are into like the seltzers because they're trying to watch their figure? They don't want to feel too bloated.
Yeah.
Oh my!
And in fact,
I make fun of every single one of them.
Well, I'll play a quick game. I guess his press conference is not going to be on time, right? Right now, name the one coach that comes to mind if I said, order whatever you want. And he goes, I'll have an espresso martini.
Oh, good Lord.
McVay.
No, he doesn't strike me as an espresso martini guy.
He's probably a Red Bull or Celsius guy, though.
That's my guy.
You know?
I think he could pound back a couple energy drinks.
Oh, wait, Mike. Well, he's not a head coach. Mike McDaniel will get the espresso martini.
He doesn't strike me as that either.
I don't know, man.
He also seems like an energy drink guy. He might pound like 4 or 5 Red Bulls.
I think Sean McVay's like, is beer all we got? We got anything else? What else you got back there?
Who's drinking the old fashioned?
Harbaugh.
You think he's classy?
John.
Think he's classy like that?
I don't. I mean, he looks like it. You know, he just looks like it.
I could kind of see that. Nice
but Reed's like, hey, 2 more pitchers for the table. No, 2 more pitchers right here. Let's go.
So we got the press conference. Do you want to go to it, or
is it started?
It started.
Just give me a couple of minutes if it's started there.
All right, here we go.
The press conference continues in Orlando as the Jags have come down to formally be welcomed to the area. And again, the news 2027 Jags will play at the newly renovated Camping World Stadium. So a deal that took a lot of people to do a lot of work happened. Not as easy as people thought. It wasn't a slam dunk, but Orlando did their part. It's going to be great. It'd be awesome to have the Jags in town for that entire football season. Welcome back. We'll turn attention to hoops. BJ Taylor, the college basketball analyst, takes a look at the Final Four coming up. Look back at last week's game. We'll talk hoops with BJ next.
Never fear. Marc Daniels is here. Welcome back to the Beat of Sports.
We appreciate B.J. Taylor's patience. Push B.J. back a little bit to carry some of that Jaguar press conference, but the college basketball analyst of both CBS and ESPN is kind to join us, as he's done for the entire tournament. We're grateful for B.J.'s time. Thank you, sir, for being patient. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. And listen, these are exciting times, all right? We got the Jags coming to Orlando, a little NFL in the city beautiful. Come on now, I get it. I'll wait 10 minutes for you.
Well, BJ's here on behalf of the good folks behind Derby Day 2026. That's the good folks at Loyal Source, and I want you to go to DerbyDayOrlando.com, learn about the golf tournament they got on Friday, May the 1st, the Derby Day party at Acrisure Bounce House, the charities connected to it. It's a great cause. What were you doing? What did you think when you watched Duke and UConn, the incredible comeback, and then that shot?
I mean, first off, like everyone else's reaction, was just stunned. Like, wow, I can't believe I can't believe the turnover happens, and I can't believe the execution to get to the shot where, Boozer turns the ball over, and then Braylon Mullins, the guy who makes the shot, actually gives the ball up to Alex Caravan, who then doesn't panic and then swings the ball right back to Braylon Mullins, who launches a 40-footer and absolutely stuns Duke. It was an incredible shot. It was an incredible play. It's the beauty of March Madness, and then the agony of defeat on the other side, for the Duke Blue Devils. That's a crushing loss. You feel horrible for Caden Boozer because, this is a guy who's had to, for all intents and purposes, live in his brother's shadow for so long. He's caught so much flack this season, just because of he comes off the bench and his brother's going to be National Player of the Year. So you hate it for him, but you hope he bounces back strong and, is able to erase this with his play next season as a sophomore at Duke. But just an all-around and incredible finish there for the UConn Huskies. And Dan Hurley continues to work his way up into being one of the best coaches, not just of this era, but he's working his way right now, Mr. Daniels, to being one of the best college basketball coaches of all time.
BJ, it's easy for everybody to play armchair quarterback and say, well, all Duke had to do was to hold the ball. And yes, that is a mistake. And maybe it's John Shire's fault. But as I try to make the point on Monday, put yourself in a situation where that moment is unraveling and all the things going on. So can you take me through what we think after the fact is an easy play? Hold the ball. One, the initial pass to Cam Boozer, he could be trapped. He gets rid of it. Yes, Sarr should hold it, but he sees traffic coming. And even Caden Boozer, if he gets 3 inches up, the game's over. So it's easy to go, should have done this. Take me through the mindset of what one should do and then what actually happens in a moment like that.
So number one, you could say Cameron Boozer should have held the ball, but Cameron Boozer is being trapped by a pretty tall wing and another guy that's up the sideline on him. So Cameron Boozer has to get off the basketball because UConn wasn't going to foul him. They're going to trap him. They're going to throw that one trap on. Once he relieves the basketball, outlets it back to Dame Sarr. Dame Sarr is going to be fouled by UConn. If you actually watch the play, you can see the UConn defender that was trapping Boozer now running back towards Dame Sarr is going to foul Dame Sarr. The caveat, the issue is Dame Sarr is a 55% free throw shooter. So he's going to get up off the basketball because he's the guy that UConn does want at the free throw line. So he actually makes the right play being a 55% free throw shooter, getting the ball to the center of the floor to your point guard, Caden Boozer. Once Caden Boozer receives the basketball, he's up near half court. He has 2 guys running at him, and he has a plethora of options. One, he can use his speed and quickness to try to maneuver up the sideline to create a better angle for the pass. Number 2, he could be strong with the basketball, hold the basketball, retreat dribble, create space where then they have to foul because now so much time has ran off the clock. Number 3, if he doesn't like anything else, the worst thing he could do is just try to get that ball up and over the top and go into the weak position that he did, right? Because now that ball is going to get tipped back towards UConn's basket, and you give them the chance to make a play. So the only, a lot of people have said, well, John Shire could have called a timeout, this, that, and the third. The only thing that I'd say, because the press breaker worked to success, the only thing John Shire could have done was Isaiah Evans should have taken that basketball out of bounds because he would have been in the Dame Sarr position. He gets the basketball back as Dame Sarr did. He's the best free throw shooter on the Duke team. Now you feel very comfortable having your best free throw shooter at the line up to late in the game. That's the only thing that I didn't like about the press break that John Shire ran was he ran his best free throw shooter to the other end of the court, to the corner, and he wasn't even in on the play. That's the only thing that I'd say from a John Shire perspective that he could have done a little differently.
Let's talk about a little bit of the Final Four here. Michigan, Arizona. To me, it's the two best teams in the country. They're going to play in a national semifinal. Michigan just kind of destroyed Tennessee in the way they went about it. What's the most impressive thing about Michigan and not the season, but really this run now through the tournament? Because that wasn't even close in that game. I mean, they just beat the daylights out of Tennessee.
I mean, boat raced them. Yeah, just absolutely got them up out of there and made them look like they were, an inadequate team going up against a superior team. And Tennessee is a reason why they were in the Elite Eight. Tennessee had a good basketball team. Rick Barnes is one of the most underrated coaches in college basketball. With that being said, Michigan's ability to play at their pace with the size that they have is very unique, right? So having three guys in their starting lineup that are over 6'9", three guys that'll be first-round picks in this year's NBA draft, but two of those three big guys, in Marez Johnson and Yaxel Lindenborg, the UAB transfer, they're not just big plotters. They're 6'9", athletic wings that can move, right? They can defend. They can run the fast break. Yaxel Lindenborg has the ability to handle the basketball. Yaxel Lindenborg's a good three-point shooter. Marez Johnson is a versatile defender. And then they have a Damar inside at 7'3", who's one of the best rim protectors in college basketball. But he's another guy who's actually very agile coming over from UCLA. So, the hard part about dealing with Michigan is they can run you with size so that when you're in transition, if you have guards and wings back there, there's not a lot you can do to stop them in transition. You get a lot of bad cross matchups. And then when they make shots from the outside the way they have in the tournament, they're absolutely dangerous. I mean, Arizona has been my pick, but after watching Michigan the other night, man, Arizona's got to come.
Oh, no, you're not doing that, are you? Are you jumping?
No chance. No. I'm staying on the ship. On the ship. I'm still going with the boys from Tucson. I'm staying on the boat. But
can I tell you? I'm sorry. Finish your point. Good.
But we've all seen games. We're like, oh man, that was that Michigan team was pretty good.
Can I tell you my favorite stat of the whole tournament? And Arizona wakes up in the second half against Purdue and does Arizona things. BJ, I want to go back. Their game, they beat Arkansas 109-88. They attempted 8 threes.
Unbelievable.
That's incredible.
That is the stat of the game. And it's funny, I mean, not to get too deep in the weeds, but they really attempted 6. They attempted 2 more in junk time when the game was already over. They really went the whole they were 5 for 6 really, for the whole game, which is absolutely unbelievable. The fact that they don't have to take shots from the outside to consistently win basketball games in a Sweet 16 game, it's incredible. They're physical, they're strong. They impose their will. The greatest quote that I've heard throughout the tournament, and we've heard a lot of sound bites, obviously, from the likes of Dan Hurley and Rick Pitino and those guys. The best quote is from Tommy Lloyd, the head coach of Arizona. And they asked him, how have you guys, built on your weaknesses and kind of, made those areas that weren't strong points? How have you made them better? And Tommy Lloyd said, we don't really focus on our weaknesses that much. We just focus on making our strengths stronger. We focus on making our strengths stronger. Basically what he's saying is a lot of teams go out on the court and they try to, take what the defense gives them, and they're going to try to make the right play for the open shot. Arizona goes out on the court and takes what they want. So you can try to say, well, look, we're going to make them a 3-point shooting team. They're still going to get to the paint. They're still going to feed the ball inside to their big fellas. They're still going to drive downhill and get to the free throw line. They have an identity of no matter what you do as a defense, we are going to do what we do offensively, right? I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's just like a football team that wants to run the ball. Put 7 in the box, put 8 in the box, do whatever you want to do. We're running the football at you, and eventually you're going to break. That's Arizona. They're going to pound you inside, and eventually they go, our defense is stout, our ability to get to the painted area and be consistent there is elite. You're going to have a hard time with us, and that's really what happened to Purdue.
Keaton Wagler's really good for Illinois, but there's a European influencer. Brad Underwood went all in on this, and he's got guys with Stojakovic, Merkovic, Ivisic. They got the European flavor, and you see the way they run their stuff, and Wagler's really good. But what do you see on the European flavor of how Illinois has built this team?
It's incredible. It's an incredible recruiting job by Brad Underwood to be able to bring in these Eastern European talents, these guys that have high IQ for the game, but they also mix that in with a toughness, right? There was a time, where you got guys from overseas and international where the kind of thought was that they were, talented, but they were soft. That's not the case anymore, all right? These guys coming over from Eastern Europe, these guys are tough. They're physical, but they also play the game the right way. They're smart. You can fit them in. When you look at what they have with David Merkovich, their freshman, they have the Ivisic brothers on the inside. You know, Andrei Stojakovic, even though his daddy, obviously he grew up in America, but still having those roots. He has a group of guys that fit his system really, really well. And I mean, the best part of what they do is they're very malleable. All right. That's the word of the day, Mr. Daniels. Take that with you. They're very malleable. All right. So you can kind of mold them and shape them into what you want them to be, and game in and game out. They can be diverse in how they win. They can score. They can win high scoring games. They can win games where they're executing a pick and roll. They can win games where they're playing through a post. They're a very versatile, diverse team, but a lot of that comes from having guys that are very high IQ players.
Who wins the UConn-Illinois game?
I got UConn. I think, you know, after winning a game like they did against Duke, UConn, it seems like a team of they're not going to lose the next game. I think they're going to have too much momentum going up against Illinois. Dan Hurley, again, I mean, no matter how you feel about him, whether you like his antics, whether you don't like his antics, whether you think he talks too much, whether you think all these other things, he's on his way to being one of the best coaches in college basketball ever. I mean, for this guy to be in 3 Final Fours in 4 seasons of basketball, for this guy to have won 2 national titles back to back and now have a chance to win a third is absolutely remarkable. You know, he's on that list of guys that are up next. I mean, so I think UConn, you know, has a little bit of the edge. I think Terrace Reed and Alex Carabin inside are just a little too much.
Please go to DerbyDayOrlando.com. Check out all the stuff that Loyal Source is doing. It's a great event. Golf tournament on Friday, Derby Day party at Acrisure Bounce House on Saturday. Wonderful charities connected to this, and see the stuff that Loyal Source does. And BJ's here on behalf of them. I'll let you decide. We'd love to have you back next week on a day that works to recap everything. I appreciate the time as always.
I will be here, Mr. Daniels.
Thank you, sir. BJ Taylor, good stuff. Back with more of the Beat of Sports next.
Hey, what's up? This is Pat Lynch.
And I'm Taco Bob, and you're not rocking out with WJRR.
Lock it in here with Marc Daniels and the beat of sports.
Big Magic game again tonight. They got Atlanta in that race in the East. Magic are 2.5 back of that 5th spot, so that's still attainable. But we'll see what the effort is tonight in that game against the Hawks. Coverage begins here on this station. Really at 6 o'clock and tip just after 7. Baseball for UCF is up the dial at 8:10 a.m. where I'll be there. You can also catch that in the iHeart app. See, 2.5 hours here, my voice is going. You can hear it. It's going. It's going.
You got this.
know?
You got this, Mark. You got it.
The sun's out. Could have used the rain out today. It's a 95% chance of rain yesterday, and I wasn't complaining. I mean, I love calling baseball, but I could use the rain. And it's hard to go down and just turn the sprinklers on because the grounds crew's already working on the field here and everything. So,
are you gonna have some throat lozenges with you?
that stuff kind of works. But I mean,
I eat
the
those
best
like
thing.
candy.
No, I mean the best thing is you just got to rest your voice, which is not possible doing a show and then doing a game. But you know what? It's all good. It's all fine. We'll fight through it and we'll deal with it. It's all good. It's Dollar Dog Night here at Medler Field in Lebrano Park. Gorgeous park.
Go
Really
get yourself a hot
beautiful
dog.
stadium.
Maybe that'll help.
Yeah. You want to load up on some dollar dogs before a potential 4-hour broadcast of midweek college baseball. Yeah. By the way, the over-under tonight, I'll play this with you. The over-under tonight on total pitchers used is 13.5. You want the over-under.
Are you serious?
No, I'm making that up. I'll post it somewhere.
Oh, God. I'll take the under.
The under?
Yep.
All right.
I don't know. How good is Penn State baseball? I'll still take the
But
under.
midweek baseball, man, it is just, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you right now, UCF has a big series. They're ranked 23rd. West Virginia's 11th. It's for first place in the Big 12. UCF's not, I mean, no offense to those pitching tonight. They're saving the key arms for the weekend. So there's a lot of guys going to be asked to throw an inning tonight, and that's going to make for a potentially long game. But
I'll still take the under.
All right. I hope you're right. I hope so. I hope somebody gets hot and can throw 3-4 innings. But call to the bullpen could be the most common used line tonight. We're back to put a wrap on the Wednesday show from Pennsylvania next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
So Tampa Bay's trying to get funding in place for the baseball stadium, right? That whole idea, which is far from a done deal. And guess who requested a meeting with the Tampa Bay Sports Authority in the next week or so? That'd be the Bucks. The Bucks lease expires in 2028. They're required by January 27 to notify the Tampa Bay Sports Authority about a new lease, and clearly the Bucks want some upgrades. So this is going to get very interesting over in the Tampa Bay area.
Well, aren't they trying to get like stadium renovations?
Oh, yeah. To the tune of several $100 million while you're trying to find $1 billion plus for the baseball stadium in an area who doesn't develop tourist tax like Orange County does. Oh, it's going to get very juicy over there. Very, very juicy over there. So, and I mean, the Bucks have obviously the heritage brand. So, I mean, wow, that's going to be a fascinating next 15 months in that area to figure out how they can pay for all this. And who knows? Meanwhile, we got the Bucks in Tampa finding money. We got the Jags choosing Orlando to play football in 2027. So that's a cool thing. Tomorrow, Mike Tuck's back here. I'll be on a bus going to Morgantown, West Virginia. Be very jealous. And then I'll be back on Friday. But Tuck will be here tomorrow, and I'll join the show, and we'll chat a little bit. Plus, Cam Miller with his weekly football visit. I'm sure Mike will talk about the Magic game tonight against the Hawks. It's a big one. Catch the coverage here. If you miss any of this program, you can always go where you get your favorite podcast. Type of the Beat of Sports on demand. To get access to the show when you're there, subscribe, download, listen when it's convenient for you. Always access the video stream as well. Go to our YouTube page, click on the logo, the live button, and the full show is right there to watch back. You could have watched me sitting in a press box in Pennsylvania today. That's, I mean,
nice,
priceless, you know?
And the beautiful mountains.
And the beautiful mountains behind there. Chris, have a great day. Thank you, my friend.
You too, Mark. Feel better.
Chris produced. I'm Marc Daniels, the Beat of Sports.